What is transfer wide receiver Bailey Stockton bringing to the Florida Gators in 2026?
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, whether it's in the podcast and on YouTube. And Bailey Stockton came over with offensive coordinator Buster Faulkner. He came over with quarterback Aaron Philo, and he came over with center Harrison Moore and tight end Luke Harpring from Georgia Tech. Three of those four guys that we named are expected to be either starters or second string. You can just say, hey, they're in the two deep. Aaron Philo is competing for the starting quarterback job. We're going to talk about him a little bit more tomorrow and what that looks like if he does win the job, which it kind of seems like it's trending that way. Harrison Moore is, I think, etched in stone as your starting center. And tight end Luke Harpring is someone that I don't know if he's going to start, but I do feel really comfortable that he's going to play a lot of snaps. And all those guys come over from Georgia Tech with offensive coordinator Buster Faulkner, who I have been very open about. Like, I think he's maybe the best offensive coordinator in the country. Then there was Bailey Stockton, the guy that came over with very little fanfare, right? He's not someone that everybody thought, oh, like this is the dude. This is an 800-yard guy this year. No one really thought that when Bailey committed to Florida. And I will say that I still don't think he's going to be this like big time impact player on offense. He is someone that at Georgia Tech was a pretty exclusive slot guy. He played, I want to say, like 95% of his snaps at Georgia Tech in the slot, which is basically 2 years. He played 2024, 2025, 2023 redshirted. But he is someone that, played a lot of his snaps in the slot and almost exclusively. Was not this guy where they were like, hey, man, you're going to go make big plays deep downfield. Part of that was just like that wasn't their offense either. I'm not saying he can do it or can't do it. I'm saying we haven't really seen him do it. Like, we haven't seen him even get the opportunity to do it. And so, again, not saying he can, but not going to say he can't. Fairly sure-handed, right? I know that he gets praised for, I think it was Sumrall that said it. It was like, oh, he catches everything. I'm sure he does. He has 2 drops in his career. Like, that is not a lot. That's a 5% drop rate. He has 2% drops with 50-ish targets, 49 targets. 429 yards, 1 touchdown in his career. And again, it's also important to note that he was a basically slot exclusive guy. He's still probably going to be that, right? If you were that in the ACC, you're probably going to be that in the SEC, especially when you have the same offensive coordinator. But I do think it's also important to note you're going to see more opportunities, I think, at Florida, just because of the way things are going to be set up, right? At Georgia Tech, the most used personnel was 11, 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers. That's going to be the most commonly used personnel here. Georgia Tech, the second most used was 12. That might still be the most, but I do think 10 personnel is going to give it a run for its money with 2 slot receivers out there. It's 1 running back, no tight end, 4 receivers, which means 2 slots. I think that's where you could talk about Bailey Stockton making more of an impact. I think he's probably going to be your second slot receiver, which means I think most of us at this point believe it's going to be Vernell in the slot. Mostly when he comes off the field, you can put Bailey out there and you could still have Dallas and Eric Singleton Jr. Or you could say, hey, Dallas is going to be one of the wide spots. He's going to be the X. Vernell, you're going to play out wide, and Bailey Stockton, you're going to bounce into the slot for now, and Eric Singleton's going to come off for a little bit and get some rest. And so I do think that you're going to see him. I think you're going to see him a good bit. I think I feel pretty solid about who the top 5 receivers are going to be this year in terms of snaps played. I think it's going to be the big 3 of Dallas Wilson, Vernell Brown III, Eric Singleton Jr. Don't care about the order. Then wide receiver 4, I think is going to be Micah Mays, and wide receiver 5, Bailey Stockton. And Bailey Stockton, by the way, is someone that not really like a huge explosive play guy, but he has had quite a few plays where he'll pick up chunks, right? He is a pretty solid yards after the catch guy. Nothing, insane, but pretty solid there. Like I said, and shorthanded, these real sneaky gym rat, son of a coach, lunch pail kid, first guy in, last one out, all the fun stuff there. But a lot of what he was asked to do at Georgia Tech was catch the ball underneath and then get going, right? Like catch the ball underneath and try to make something. I wrote about Counter for Faulkner's Playbook, a series that I'm working on with swampsignal.substack.com. I wrote about counter, and there was one play that was, I think it was a counter RPO or just counter screen, and Bailey Stockton was the receiver on it. Caught the ball behind the line of scrimmage, took off, going, made a man miss, picked up like 20-something. I think it was 23 or 25. Actually, it was 23. It was against Colorado, and that was just long that game. So it was 23 there from behind the line of scrimmage. Like he's able to pick up yards after the catch. We're going to talk more about what that role might look like when we get back with Locked On Gators. There are more live events than ever worth seeing right now. Games, concerts, comedy shows, festivals. The hard part isn't deciding what you want to attend. It's actually getting tickets to the event. Between long wait times, confusing checkout processes, and surprise fees, buying tickets can sometimes feel harder than it should. That's why so many fans are turning to Game Time. The app is built to make buying tickets simpler. Upfront pricing, seat views before you buy, and exclusive savings opportunities that help you get to the events you want without the usual hassle. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to every type of event with Game Time. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And before the season even kicks off, everyone is making predictions. It's who wins the conference. It's who makes the college football playoff. It's who's lifting the trophy at the season's end, who's going to be in New York and be a Heisman. On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. That means that on Kalshi, you're trading against peers. There's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Trade the draft pick, trade the game, or trade so many things on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app and use code Locked On to get $10 when you trade. $10. KALSHI Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, whereas the podcast and on YouTube. And like we've talked about, like I don't think that Bailey Stockton is going to be this huge impact player for the Florida Gators offense in 2026. I do think he's going to be, again, wide receiver 5, rotational, probably get a couple hundred yards. I think that, you're going to see the main 3 receivers, Jaden Ball, probably a tight end. Then you'll see Micah Mays and Bailey Stockton, I think, in this competition there. And I think that's what you're going to see for most of offense, right? Bailey Stockton, again, he's going to be someone that I do think that having comfort in the offense with Buster Faulkner, with Aaron Philo, they were in high school together. I do think that matters, right? You're going to have a safety blanket there. Always. You've got a guy that he's going to know exactly where Buster wants him to sit against the zone, and he's going to know exactly where Aaron Philo wants him to sit against the zone. And he's going to go out there and make those plays and pick up, again, some yards after catch. Like your role as a slot receiver most of the time is not to be this game breaker. It's usually, hey, be this guy that we can convert underneath with, move the sticks, and that's what we're looking for. That's how I look at it, right? Unless we're talking about putting your legitimate wide receiver 1 in the slot to go make plays, then sure. But that's not what Bailey Stockton is, right? Like when you put Vernell in there, sure, you're going to say, hey, let's press up the seam. Let's run a corner. Let's challenge, right? Let's attack. I don't think you're going to ask Bailey Stockton to do a ton of that. I do think an area where Bailey Stockton is going to make an impact is going to be on special teams. I think he's going to be in the competition for punt returning. We'll see if he's, actually out there. I do think that he's got the ability and experience to play kickoff, to play kick return, even if he's not the return man. But I do think that he's going to be out there filling a role. He's someone that when you watch the Georgia Tech offense, he's out there. He took a couple handoffs last year, and he took a couple handoffs the year before. Like he's someone that's been used as a rusher at times. And again, like I know there's people that go, all right, like that dude is not an insane athlete. Why are we handing him the football? Because you don't have to be an insane athlete to be handed the football and be effective. Especially on sweeps. If you face a front that is going to have 3 down, you attack them in so many different ways. It's not just like, oh, they have 3 down, run it up the gut because you've got 3 versus 5. Like, say, no, if they've got 3 down, let's go out wide because they could be blitzing someone right through the A gap and say, hey, we've got 3 down. Let's send someone into the middle and let's have 4v5 there at least. Like you could be really attacking. And I think the way that you kind of spread things out, which is what Buster Faulkner wants to do, he wants to spread out defenses. That's one of the big ways to do it. And I think that Bailey Stockton has shown that he's going to get at least an opportunity if it's there. He might not get it this year, right? Like I'm not going to lie to you. I'd much rather see Vernell Brown III, Eric Singleton get a handoff than Bailey Stockton. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. If he's out there and he's on the field and that's the call, he's going to get that. And again, like this is one of those things where I'm not really pressing Buster too much about how he wants to use guys, especially if he has experience with them. That ain't on me. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free. We have us in the podcast and on YouTube for Locked On Gators. I'm Brandon Olson. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all of my written work about the Florida Gators at swampsignal.substack.com, and I'll see you all next time.